Morena. How you going, all right? Get the bear koutou. Keeping warm? Speaking of which, hey, the government has announced the doubling of the winter fuel payment. The winter energy payment has been doubled because people are under extra stress during the isolation period. So that's doubling to $1,400 for couples and $900 for singles. So good on them. Keep warm, everybody. All right, in a short while, I'm going to be phoned by Jane Ross, and we're going to have another film talk, and I'm sure she's got lots of tips and interesting films to talk about, and we look forward to that. But let's have a bit of music first. What have I got? I've got, Amin and Hamza. Music mostly around Northern Africa. The track I want to play you is called Vis-a-Vis Cafe Tunis, or Tunis. Yep, let's try it. Yes, I'm going to have to play some more of that. Amin and Hamza. Really nice. The album's called Perpetual Motion, and they're obviously from North Africa, maybe Tunis or Tuni, as I'm sure they say. Right. Jane's phoning in a short while. In the meantime, what can I tell you? Well, Isolation Blues continues in its own stumbly-bumbly way. And next week, Steve Lilliston will be calling. Steve does a program called Our Library. And, well, he just started the program, and then COVID-19 kicked in and he's been unable to continue. But we've already had him as a guest on Isolation Blues, and he was able to give us lots of information about what's happening at the library during this time, and he'll be back on Monday with a bit more. So looking forward to that. Possibly might be chatting later in the week with Graham Joyce. Graham is the manager of Coast Access Radio in Kapiti. I'm very interested to learn how each different access station is coping and making sure that their communities remain informed, entertained, culturally connected. So I want to get around the whole country. So far we've had Auckland, Hamilton. Oh, that'll be Jane, I bet. All right, let's see. Jane, are you there? Oh, look, always a pleasure to hear your voice. Yeah, hello. I'm sure you're right, but I can't see that from here. No. I cycle regardless. You might remember a number of years back we had snow down to street level, and I cycled through that, which was exciting. Mm.
That the sun's shining, and may that continue.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
But I just announced that the government announced this morning the doubling of the winter energy payment, which is great, that our vulnerable people are getting a little bit extra to keep them warm, because it won't always be sunny and wonderful.
No, and I have started to notice that chill that does come off the mountains around this time of year. And 1st of May, White Rabbit. Yeah. And yeah, I think it's something like an extra $25 a week, which is absolutely amazing.
It's good, yeah.
It will definitely help.
It comes to a total, if you're a single person, of $900 for that subsidy, $1,400 for couples. So that's pretty good.
That's so good. And that's just going automatically, if you qualify, into your accounts to go towards your energy bills, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Jane, there you are again, about to tell us about what's happening in the film world and what we can do. But look, I just want to mention, you want to know what's happening, you just go to Jane's Facebook page or have her as a friend and you find out. But I see that the New Zealand International Film Festival have taken a leaf out of your book and intend to go digital, go online.
Yeah, no, that was going to be. I've got a series of announcements to make today, as well as some New Zealand screen recommendations, and that's actually one of the announcements. So,
yeah. Did I force you to make it ahead of time there?
Well, no, I'm gonna jump on it because it's hot off the press. This announcement, I got it yesterday, and I'm sad that we can't be in our cinemas.
Yeah, I know.
To enjoy the New Zealand International Film Festival. And, I mean, to put that into context, it's been, running in New Zealand for decades. And it's actually been screened at the Regent 3 cinemas here in Masterton for over 44 years. I think 44 years would have been this year. It would have had its cinematic screening.
Yeah.
And Brent Goodwin is a very much a long-time supporter of bringing the film festival to the Wairarapa. Yep. And I support it and partner with the New Zealand International Film Festival. I have for a number of years, but when I relocated back to the Wairarapa in 2017, I saw that it still had this very strong following, but one of the things that I really wanted to do was enhance the whole experience of having New Zealand filmmakers present at their films, which has been just such a deeply enriching experience for me, for the audiences, and for the filmmakers themselves.
Yeah.
They've all loved coming here. So,
and you're right, it does enrich the experience, Jane, because when you get some insights from the filmmaker themselves, it really does. I mean, a film stands, like any work of art, it stands on its own merits, but it's still fascinating to get the inside gen from somebody who worked on it.
Exactly. And, of course, film will always generate questions. And to actually have the filmmaker right there to be able to speak directly with people about the creative processes that go into making a film, and by that I mean the cinematography and the music that was used in the soundtrack and the kinds of lighting and landscapes that were used to tell a story. I mean, that is something that a filmmaker has a unique way of presenting a story to its audience. But it also raises our social consciousness about particular national topics of interest. And I think to be able to talk that through and to gain a greater understanding of a national topic, but also how that story is being told, is just so deeply beneficial for people. And so with the New Zealand International Film Festival going online, I'm really pleased that they found a way through it, because over the last 5 to 6 weeks, they've been in a lot of discussion, and they really, I mean, they couldn't consider not having a festival, so they had to think about how they could actually bring this festival into people's homes, and that's actually what they've decided to do, and I think it's bold and it's brave. It's never been done before.
Well, Jane, it's never been done before for that level of film festival, but you've been doing your own little thing there through your Facebook page. I think that you've been showing the way. You're pushing the envelope, Jane.
Oh, thank you, Michael. Yeah, well, it was just, I jumped on that idea right at the very beginning, because I knew that there were a lot of my filmmaking friends working on projects around New Zealand that they've either had to put on hold, or they've turned towards doing other things, such as developing new scripts. But within that, I still really wanted to give them a voice and to give them a way of connecting with the Wairarapa and you know, definitely beyond that as well. And I was absolutely blown away and delighted by people's enthusiasm to jump on board with that, but specifically to be able to nominate New Zealand film or screen content that was free to view or at very low cost to view. That actually, again, just sort of broadened people's experiences of seeing something and viewing something that they may not have known about before. And it was really lovely to have the filmmakers actually talk from the heart about films that had inspired them as filmmakers, or it had an impact on them. So from that, what I was able to do was put together 9 individual viewing programs from all the contributions that came forward, and you can access that on my Facebook page, which is you can go at Film Talks NZ, and that'll take you to my Film Talks page, and you'll be able to just scroll through and see the 9 individual screening programs. And everyone came up with at least 5 things. I mean, my challenge was it could be feature films, television, music videos, web series, animated series, but it had to be New Zealand content that was either at no cost or low cost. and they rose to that challenge. It was brilliant. And I discovered a whole lot of new screen content that I didn't actually know existed. It was great. It was just a really, really very enriching experience all round for everyone.
They did rise to the challenge, and I think that that's been typical of the generosity of people during this period. There's been an enormous amount of free content generated from people's homes, etc. And it's great that that's happened in the film world too.
Absolutely. So the New Zealand International Film Festival, I guess, took their cue from the cascade of event cancellations that were happening worldwide, and took on board the well-being of artists in the industry, and thought long and hard also about the health and safety of New Zealanders, and wanted to come up with a way of presenting the New Zealand International Film Festival to people in their homes. So bringing Art House to your house is what they're calling it, which is great.
Yep.
So I'm just going to have a look here. I can see that it's going to be an online for the very first time, and the full program is going to be released in June, but the film festival itself will run from the 24th of July to the 2nd of August, and they are going to include the usual question and answer sessions. They're even going to do virtual red carpet events.
I saw that.
Isn't that brilliant?
Yeah.
So they are going to try very hard for the online version to be a true film festival experience.
Great. Will we have virtual paparazzi and...
Isn't that great? So I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to sort of being in discussion with the New Zealand International Film Festival headquarters about how I can be involved in that too, because I'm very much wanting to carry on doing the sort of film talk question and answer sessions that I do.
Well, you've really enhanced the experience of the film festivals for us, so we're grateful to that, Jane. Good on you. And we'd like...
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So I think that's one of the announcements that I wanted to make today, but keeping in that theme of people that have sort of embraced our current situation, I want to give props to the good people at Misconception Films. Now, this is a wonderful partnership between two people. One of them is the lovely Ainsley Gardner. And Ainsley's a director and producer and filmmaker. She's done a lot of work collaborating with Taika Waititi over the years.
Yep.
And the partnership is between her and George Conda. Now, Misconception Films have launched a children's filmmaking competition. It's called Lock, Load and Film.
Right.
And it's open now. And it closes in 8 days' time. It closes on the 8th of May. That's when they need to have submissions of children up to the age of 18.
So at that stage, they just need submissions. It's not like they need any finished product. Right.
They do need the finished product to be submitted to them.
I see. Sorry. Well, it's good that you clarify it for people who are a bit thick like me. I didn't know whether it was a concept submission or, as you say, the finished product. Yep.
Well, if you go to, you can check out the website, Misconception Films, and that'll give you a little bit of a background to the kind of work that Ainsley and George have done together. They've produced films like The Breaker Upperers.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And they also worked on the documentary She Shares, which was part of the New Zealand International Film Festival 2 years ago, and actually features the Golden Shoe Sharing Competition and female competitors in particular. And currently in post-production is the adaptation of Patricia Grace's Cousins.
Oh.
Now, they've been working on that, and I am so looking forward to seeing that. The release date will be sometime later in 2020. So these women know their stuff. They do. They're really, really accomplished filmmakers. So they've put their heads together and they've created this filmmaking competition called Lock, Load and Film. And I'll just read a little bit out to you, which they've posted on their Facebook page.
Yep.
So they've said, nothing to watch, why not make a film yourself? And enter our competition to win prizes with a little imagination time and your favourite device. We can show you how to make your own film. And they actually do, Michael.
Oh, that's great.
There's a series of wonderful Q&A videos that have been put together by friends of them that work in the New Zealand film industry. So you'll find really great people like Lauren Taylor. She's got a short video which is dedicated to how to write a story and how to create your own characters. The very funny actor Cohen Holloway gives a Q&A on giving acting tips. The very talented Amanda Neal talks about design production tips, how to put a set together, how to design your set. And Sasha Young, for example, talks about costume and the importance of costume.
So people who really know what they're on about. I was glad to hear you mention Lauren Hunter's name. Lauren Taylor, I mean. Haven't sort of heard about what she's been up to for a long while. Eagle versus Shark, right?
Yes. She was great in that, wasn't she?
Oh, fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah. And starring alongside Masterton's own Jermaine Clement.
Yep. Yeah.
Very, very talented people. And Cohen Holloway was in that film as well. And, of course, so was Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
So, a very good New Zealand feature film to check out too. And that one would also be available on New Zealand Film On Demand at a very low cost to view. So, again, another great database that you can go to check out loads of New Zealand film content.
So Misconception, really dependable people, top of their game. I mean, The Breaker-Uppers was great. And what a fabulous thing to provide a series of kind of how-to guides for younger people wanting to get something out. And I'm sure that it encourages them, instead of looking for the difficulties, to look for the possibilities and get something done.
That's absolutely right. And from The Breaker-Uppers, they've also got tips from Madeline Sami and Jackie Van Beek, who were the two Breaker-Uppers in that film. So, look, the competition is open to children up to the age of 16. Sorry, I said 18 earlier, but it's 16. Yep. Films can be up to 10 minutes long. Look, all you need is a smartphone or a computer or some basic device, and you're good to go. Submissions are open now, and they close on Friday, the 8th of May. So we've got a whole 7 days.
Yeah, and get on with it. It can be done.
Yeah, now, there is a theme. So you can do anything you want. It could be a comedy, it could be a documentary, drama, any sort of genre. And there's also tips from people about genre on the Facebook page as well. But the theme is finding our way home.
Right.
Now, isn't that great? Isn't that really of relevance to us? So they say sometimes being stuck at home means that we're not able to see what it's about with our homes and families, but we see what's important to us. So they've said, tell us a story about home, whether home is the house that you live in, your family, your friends, or your pets, or a fort that you've made to be by yourself. The story could be a documentary, it could be scripted reality, fiction made up, but they talk about all of this and they guide you through the process of actually making the film.
Yep.
What a great thing to be involved in.
Great. So remind us again how people find out all the information and how to submit.
Well, I would start by going to the Misconception website so that you can look at what their projects are and what their events are, but then go over to their Facebook page and you just go at Misconception Films.
Yep.
And it'll bring everything up. Now, you need to scroll down to the 6th of April and start looking from there. Because from the 6th of April, that's when they posted the information about the competition, and then following on from that, they've posted all the question and answer sessions with New Zealand people that work in the New Zealand film industry that have very generously and kindly given their tips and advice and to help you actually put that film together.
Great.
Every aspect of it, even storyboarding. The importance of even coming up with a shot list for filming in different locations. If your film has different locations, the thought of everything. It's just great.
Keeping people fed. Make sure your cast and crew have got something to munch on.
Yeah. Now, what does Geraldine Brophy called that? The love budget.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she was very good at putting together the macaroni cheese and the apple crumbles. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing what...
Crew is very important.
Yeah, I know I've done a bunch of freebies for people. You get used to, as a professional actor or whatever, getting paid, as you should do. But every so often you're supporting a new filmmaker and you donate your services for free. And when the food arrives, it's all fine.
Yeah, nothing else matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Isn't it wonderful? Now, I think those are my main announcements for this week.
Yeah.
But I thought I'll put in now a couple of things to view. It could either be over the weekend or at any point going forward.
Yep.
But this weekend, this Saturday night, I wanted to let everyone know about a particular New Zealand comedian. His name is Rob McLennan.
Mm-hmm.
And keeping it in the family, he happens to be my cousin, and I think he's a very funny guy, but I also really love him.
Yep.
But more than that, he's actually also embraced going online with his comedy. And for the last 2 weeks, on a Saturday night for half an hour, between 8 and 8:30, he's been making us laugh. He's been doing his comedy from a spare room in his house via his computer. But he's been interviewing different interesting people each week. The first week, he interviewed what the Dunedin press had referred to as a lockdown loony. And that was a man who decided to run around the perimeter of his garden for 24 hours. Wow.
Yes.
And that was actually to raise money for a particular charity, but Rob ended up interviewing him, but also sort of interspersed, that's not the right word, edited in, actual footage of him as that he captured himself while he was going through the processes of his 24-hour marathon run.
Right.
And you can see the descent.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Rob can then pick up on the comedy in that.
Yeah.
And talk through what was going on in his mind as he kept running and running and running. So that was episode 1, and you can find that on his Facebook page, which is Rob McLennan Comedian.
Right.
And then you've heard me talk about Mill & Beard.
Yes.
Very funny New Zealand. He's from New Plymouth originally, based in Los Angeles right now. Very funny actor, very funny script writer. And he's won awards for his script writing. He interviewed Millen last week while on lockdown in a flat in Los Angeles. And he gave lots of insights about the things that he's been working on and what he's been doing during lockdown as well. And this Saturday night, Rob is interviewing Chris Mack from 660.
All right, yeah.
Which I'm very much looking forward to. Just talking about what he's been up to during lockdown, what music is is in production, and Rob will have a way of turning that into something really quite entertaining.
Yeah.
So I recommend that. That's a Saturday night view, and you just go to Rob McLennan Comedian, and the links will be there for everyone to click on to connect to his live show. Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Good, all right. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is a really amazingly good initiative called Loading Docs.
Mm.
Have you ever heard of that?
No, I haven't. I'm about to.
Oh, well, you're about to. You're in for a treat. Now, back in 2014, Loading Docks was launched, and the idea around this was it was to be, it was a public invitation was put out that, across TVNZ, and it basically asked for people to submit a 3-minute documentary. And it could be about anything. There was no theme, there were no parameters, apart from the fact that it had to be contained within a 3-minute format. And
that's
it was
a discipline.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And that is also, it was what would I say? I think 8 films get chosen every year. And from a panel of judges, they select the 8 films that they find the most inspiring, and they get added to the Loading Docks platform.
Yep.
You can actually just go to loadingdocs.net, and you'll see all the seasons have been compiled. So I'll just tell you about its conception. So Loading Docks is a unique initiative that produces short documentaries that move, inspire and challenge audiences locally and internationally while developing and promoting New Zealand filmmaking at home. So that's a really important thing. This was an initiative that came out from the New Zealand Film Commission. They just really wanted to encourage documentary filmmaking. I love documentary as a genre. I think it's fascinating. So far, the documentaries have actually been watched by over 13 million people globally,
Really?
which is remarkable.
That's the internet for you, eh?
Yeah. So it offers, and it's also a professional development opportunity, because they start by selecting a group of short documentary proposals. The filmmakers are partially funded to produce that short, and then alongside participating in like a talent development boot camp, which has its own challenges as well. They then expand upon the story development, and they think about ways that they can best connect with audiences, and so they do get professional development through to the fruition of that short documentary.
That's a lot for a 3-minute product, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And TVNZ On Demand have last year's that you can view, but you can simply just go to loadingdocs.net and see the whole series since 2014. And of course it's developed since then. It's no longer just 3 minutes. And what they've started to do every year is give a theme. So I thought I'd talk about, going from 2014, where it was just a 3-minute documentaries that could just represent a diverse range of topics, to what they actually have produced for 2020, which is on the theme of revolution. Yeah.
Big one.
Going to start a revolution. So I'll talk you through what was selected and what's been hosted. So one of them is called OK Chloe. Now, this is about millennial MP Chloe Schwabrick.
Yep.
And how, I guess, she challenges the establishment during one of the most important years of her political career. So that's there to look at. I think that's about an 8-minute documentary, that one.
And OK Chloe obviously is referencing her OK Boomer comment.
Yeah, isn't that great? So the director there is a lady named Charlotte Evans, and as I say, they would have gone through that process of making a submission of ideas and then going through the development stage with support and some partial funding, which is great.
Yep.
The next one is a film called Fight Woman, and it says, days before the biggest fight of her career, a Kiwi MMA fighter grapples with her future.
That's mixed martial arts, right?
Yeah. And it's particularly about an MMA fighter named Sarah McCann. She steps out under the lights in a career-defining battle There's input from her husband and her trainer, who is definitely her number one supporter. But she enters Japan at a crossroads in her life, and she's fighting for a future. And Sarah, it actually shows the actual cage fighting,
Right.
and it shows the physical and mental preparation that went into that fight to prove herself against some of the best fighters in their field in the world, in one of the world's bloodiest sports. So, goodness me, that would be quite a powerful thing to see.
I would say so.
The next one is a short called This Is Us. And 1 year on from the fatal Christchurch mosque attack, a young Muslim man returns to the spotlight to try and incite real change. So, this one, of course, is surrounded by tragedy, but from that comes something quite uplifting and something quite truthful from somebody who was directly involved in that very tragic event in our New Zealand history. Yeah. We've got another film. Yeah, Michael?
Oh, no, just it is, of course it's awful, but I think there's been a bit of a sea change in people's attitudes to the people who live amongst us. And, They Are Us as an idea has really embedded in our culture now, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's I'm already highlighting quite a diverse range of films that have been curated around that theme of revolution, which is quite remarkable that people can actually do this and do it well. Finally, we've got a film called Going Home, which it says here to celebrate the adventurous life of her late uncle. Ashley takes a leap of faith and learns to fly. So this is about Ashley. The director is a young woman named Ashley Williams, and it's about her story of overcoming her grief and losing her uncle to cancer. He was a rock climber and a hang glider. But he died from cancer, and 10 years on, she doesn't quite follow in his footsteps. She doesn't in her bravery, but she tries to have a go at what he loved most, and in doing that, she actually learns how to fly.
Yeah, so it's not exactly the same way, but she's defying gravity nonetheless.
Yeah. She was trying to find a way to connect with him through these outdoor activities and pursuits, and filled of adrenaline that he absolutely loved and what defined him. So it was a way of her understanding him and being close to him, and something very beautiful to say about that too. And then we've got the Wā Nui, which is about native Kōri trees, and a traditional Māori healer tries to, save an entire forest one tree at a time.
This is in the context of kauri dieback, right?
It's looking at that devastating disease that is threatening to destroy Aotearoa's remaining Kōri trees. And this is a documentary that follows a traditional Māori healer as he stands amongst the prehistoric trees and tries to find a way of actually restoring them. So it says, you can discover the roots of Indigenous medicine through watching this film in a way that is really quite relevant to our present situation with the Kōri dieback scheme.
Yeah.
And then we've also got a film called Table for One. It says, against all odds, an aging table tennis icon returns to her last shot at Olympic gold. Yeah. So it says, competing against athletes half her age, New Zealand's Chun-Li Lee begins her qualification to Tokyo 2020.
Yes, I'm familiar with her. She's a bit of a legend. Yeah.
Oh, yay. Well, you'll enjoy this because it says here, despite being a Commonwealth Games gold medalist, she never achieved an Olympic accolade in her 40-year career. So 20 years later, she gives it one last chance. And I'm not going to say what the end result is. You've got to see it, and find out.
Great.
And then we've got two more. Wahine Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
After a brush with death, she's a reborn warrior. Hunting is her therapy. Now thousands seek to join her revolution. So this is a story about a woman named Pania who dared to dream big. She reinvented herself as a Wahine Tau hunter, turning to nature to grow kai and to hunt, and for empowerment as well. So that sounds like a very, very inspiring story.
Yep.
And then we've also got a comedy called It's About Bloody Time. And it's a self-deprecating 40-year-old on a mission to find out why she still hates going through a particular stage of life.
I see.
So, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that a diverse range of
Enormously.
short documentary films? So that's Loading Docs 2020. Yeah.
What a massive range of films, not just there, but just generally. You've spoken with me for a few weeks now, almost exclusively about New Zealand film. And there was a time, if you said to somebody New Zealand film, they could think of Smash Palace and Sleeping Dogs and a few things. But look at the massive output that we have now.
Isn't it wonderful? And that's one of the things that I'm so passionate about sharing with people is just the plethora of really, really fantastic filmmaking that we have happening, and I'm wanting to connect with the long history of filmmaking in New Zealand and really make that shine, but also just raise awareness of our past, present, and encourage through initiatives like Misconception Films, the budding new filmmakers, the new generation of filmmakers coming forward who have access to the sorts of devices that make it possible to actually be a filmmaker. For a long time, filmmakers in New Zealand talked about the constraints of money and budget. And I've spoken to filmmakers that said, we were waiting for a point where we could afford to buy a camera. But if you've got a smartphone, you're good to go now.
Yeah, that's right.
If you've got some kind of device like that, you're good to go. So I guess starting today, I really wanted to highlight that competition and then really encourage our local tamariki rangatahi up to 16 years of age to please jump on that Facebook page and check out all the really fantastic advice that is there from our very talented and established current filmmakers who really want to encourage our new budding filmmakers to enter into this industry, but also just to enter into this kind of storytelling, because stories are important and our stories are important, and I'm looking forward to when they're actually going to upload the entries onto the Facebook page for people to see. So again, it'll be like an online film festival of submissions.
Great.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Look, thanks, Jane, for all that.
That's for this week.
Yeah. So people get onto the Misconception Facebook page and scroll down so that you can find out how to make your submission, because you got, 8 days left, I think?
8 days left. So after I've finished talking to you live on air today, I will put up some links to that on my Film Talk page.
Great.
But I will make a point of making sure I get that emailed to you as well, Michael, so that you can put it on the Arrow FM page.
Yeah, but Jane, you say that every week.
I know I do. I know, and I was good at the beginning, but life got busy. So I'm going to make a point of it, because I guess this competition's got a deadline, so I really want to try and encourage it. Yeah.
All right, good. Well, we'll be happy to promote that. Look, lovely to talk with you again, Jane. And it'll probably be Thursday next week, but we'll just keep in touch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, level 3 hasn't changed that much for us at the moment, has it, Michael?
No, I don't think so. We're looking at ways a little bit later of bringing people back into the studio, but it'll have to be one person at a time, and we'll have to say, there's your spray and wipe, clean all your surfaces, and we'll wave to you from a distance.
Yeah. All good.
All right.
All right.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
the rest of Friday.
I'll give it a go. Thanks, Jane. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Right, Jane Ross from Film Talks. Lot of useful information and things to process there. That's it from me. We've got Ramil will be doing his program Te Wā Whānau at 10:30. Until then, goodbye.